Hello, let's continue on step 7 in the package. Create invoice receipt for the rental expense. Once we transfer the fund from the existing bank account to the new bank account, now we are ready to input the invoice sent by the vendor, the landlord, to us. So step 7, create a vendor invoice. We do it under financial accounting, accounts payable, and then create supplier invoice. So click on the tile. I'm going to discard, okay, like my trial from before. So general information regarding the invoice, because I only have this Cardinal property as my vendor, so it's already pop up. If not, I always can select input or search and find the right vendor in the invoicing party choice. But this is the invoice. You have other options, so invoice, credit memo, but that's other documents type. Also, the company code is already pop up. Again, if it's not, you can just add US00. Invoicing date, I'm using the current date because I'm doing all of the transactions as of today. So it's for me is January 21st, but you always can make adjustment from here. And then the invoice amount, assume we have a invoice, okay, like this. So 1500, if you have 0, because I did some trial, so it's some info is already populated here, but you always can input new information. So company code, invoice, dollar values, invoicing date, posting date, and then the invoice party. Again, that's the time we need to use the vendor we created in step 4. I ask you to write down the number or take a screenshot. But even in case I forget, so like, I have no idea, I know it's a cardinal property, but with the vendor ID, I can do a search from here. Remember, we have a search term, like I put my user account name, but you need to scroll down. Okay, it's not a single choice. I will do so go. So it's limiting my choices to the search term. Okay, 091, but there are still many other choices. I need to scroll down. I know I'm under US company code under the US, and I also know the city should be Eden Prairie, right from the vendor. So I will scroll down. You can just try to find. Oh, here somewhere. US is passing line. To one more time, use this search. Miami. Oh, here we have we are almost before all of the Portland. Okay, so US, this is my, because I forgot the supplier ID. So I'm clicking on this and it's pop up, okay, in my invoicing party. But if you remember the ID, you can directly put the vendor ID in the in the field. Then after that, we are going to put the GL account. Okay, so go to the GL account items, and now we need to add. Oh, I already have, again, from my prior trial, initially you should have something like this. And the GL account should be, because it's already debit. Why? Because when we enter a invoice means we know this will be a credit payable, right? So credit payable account. So we need to input the debit. Okay, or it can be a purchasing or can be a expense. So we'll add the new expense account we created in step 2. Be careful, the new rent expense, not others. Okay, make sure you select the correct one from the drop-down menus. And the amount will be consistent from the invoice. It should be matching with the invoice. Okay, otherwise you may have unequal debit and credit amount. And debit, and then click check. Oh, I think I needed to. If you do the check, because I already input the cost center, so if you do the check, you may get a error message or warning, right? You like in the handout, so account require a assignment to a cost control object. Because the reason this is a primary cost when we created, it need to have a internal control department or a object to be associated with this expense. So managerial accounting, so parallel is a financial accounting journal entry, but in the meantime, I need to find a cost center to be responsible for the expense for managerial control purpose. For this one, we can do, if you follow the instructions, I can, so show details here under the GL account. And under the cost center, I should, when you first do it, there will be no input. So under the cost center, I'm telling the system this expense will be responsible by the cost center as specified in this field. And put NAAD. That's a cost center number is related to admin cost from the, I think it is like from the CEO's office. And the cost center master data is created and managed under the CO cost control, so controlling module under the managerial accounting. If we have time, I can intro something about the cost control later. But we are matching with the expense to a cost center. So if you enter a new expense in the SAP system, you must identify a cost center. Otherwise, you couldn't post the invoice or journal entry. Now, once this time, if you check, there will be no error message. And then we can do the simulate. Yeah, very nicely. Even I didn't put the GL, but once I identify my vendor, they know the system know which accounts payable related to this vendor, where we define this in step 4. So when we create the cardinal property, we told the system use these accounts payable we created in step 2 to match. Okay, so the accounts payable is already there as a credit. So here the credit means like a negative. And then debit account is your new expense. Now we can post. So now we should have 2 journal entries, and this the invoice is a paperwork. The invoice is generated. So very, very convenient. Do you want to create a new supply? I'm not like, saying no. I believe now if we check the manage journal entry, okay, not in the handouts, but if you try to check out journal entry, we have a newer one, right? So that's the first one, transfer the font, and that's the second one. So I'm going back, and that's conclude our step 7, input the invoice, okay, from the landlord.